I'm so excited to have a guest with me. This is Lucy McCarraher, and Lucy is the founder and CEO of Book Magic AI. She's also the founder of Rethink Press. She is a book mentor. She's the author of 14, you heard that right, 14 books, the latest of which is Book Magic and is launching next month. And I've invited Lucy onto the show today because I thought it would be great to talk about how books can help us with unlocking growth in our business, but also how they can help us to actually attract the right people in when we're recruiting. So welcome, Lucy. So glad to have you.
Oh, thank you, Karen. It's lovely to be here.
And, we first met a few years ago, and I went through your book builder program in 2022. And I absolutely loved the process. And actually, I was talking to someone about it this week. I never thought that I would be a writer, and I found myself actually enjoying getting up at 4:30 and 5 o'clock in the morning and writing. But before we get there, I would love to know, why do you suggest that business owners looking to grow their businesses take the time and the effort, which can seem really overwhelming, let's face it, to write a book?
Well, it is a substantial project. It's two, but it's one of those unique tools that you have as a business owner that can really, really take your business to the next level. And I know that sounds like a bit of a cliche, but I do think a book has a unique way of doing this. So firstly, when you plan and write a book about you, your business, your process, your methodology, it gives you incredible clarity. It also, I think you'll have probably found, gives you confidence about how amazing you are. You actually unpack your experience and expertise. So even if you never publish your book, which of course I'm not suggesting, just the writing process will make you better and your business better at what you do. But then secondly, a book is unique in its ability to give you authority and influence. It's a classic format, but nothing says authority like having your name as the author on the front of a good book. And the way a book is distributed, it goes around the world and meets people for you that you cannot conceive of finding in any other way. Thirdly, it goes out there and sells you. If you write the right kind of book, I call it your undercover sales agent, because it's not a pitch or a marketing brochure or a business card. It is a summary of your value, and it sells you to people who, do not necessarily want to be sold to, but it talks in your voice to your ideal prospects and clients. And fourthly, if you want to become more visible, if you want speaking gigs, podcast interviews like this, your book is a great way. You send it to people, and a printed, published book is a fantastic introduction, and it makes people think, yeah, this person knows what they're talking about. Of course, I want to have them on my platform, have them on my podcast. Or journalists, media, again, they go looking for authors when they want an expert to talk on a subject. So those are the four key reasons that you should have your book out there. And the fifth one I call Book Magic, which I'm calling everything now. But things happen when you're an author. And I bet you've got stories, Karen, that, I sent my book to someone and you can't imagine what happened. I never thought this would happen. And it's all because of the book. That's what our authors come back and tell us. So those are the key reasons why you as a business owner should consider writing your book.
Yeah, and I loved, as you were talking, then I was reflecting as well when you talk about the clarity. And, that's so true, because it forces you to sit down and to say, what is it that our business actually does? What is it that I can bring to that? And, for me, and, this podcast is about how we unlock growth through our people. And actually, something that I didn't expect, if you go into, Book Magic, is actually that it's helped my whole team to understand this is what we do, and so,
yeah.
And so when I'm hiring people into the business, it's one of the first things that I do in my interviews. I give people a copy of the book, because if they can read that and they understand our ethos and our values and the way that we do things, then that's such a quick way to get a candidate to understand what we're all about.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. It's your best summary, your best writing of what you do and your values. And when I'm mentoring people to write books, and in fact in the Book Magic app, the thing we start with is values. And people
Mm.
think, why are we talking about values? I want to write a book here. But that's the starting point, really, that you have your values and that's what's in your business. It's what you do. And your whole book is then predicated on giving value to your readers, but also potentially your prospects. And of course, as you say, your team, your new hires, the people who are still with you and might need a refresher, but it just summarizes that. And it also, I mean, most books that I would mentor people through are about the methodology that you use, your model, your process for taking your clients through and how you achieve the results with them. So it also gives people a really clear understanding of what the business does and how you do it.
Yeah, that's so true. And talking about the book magic, so I guess one of my book magics is I actually took the book and I made online training modules, and then shared those with our clients that wanted to learn our methodology to implement themselves. But I also again shared it with the team and our new hires, and that became part of our onboarding process. And I still use that today when I'm bringing people into the business, because it's a really effective, fast way, because all the thinking's already out there, and I don't have to redo it every time to say, okay, this is actually how we do things around here.
Yeah.
And I
No,
guess
your
it,
book
it
is
attracts and repels people, right? Because they're either going to say, yes, that's me, or no, it's not. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And you know immediately whether, I'm sure after they've read your book and you speak to them and you find out what they tell you back that they have found out, you know whether they've got it or they haven't got it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's yeah, and as you say, your book is an absolute archive of all your best thinking on your subject matter. So it's infinitely repurposable as as you say, courses, programs, talks, keynotes, social media posts. It's all there. You've done it already. All you have to do is pick out what you need and repurpose it for almost anything else.
Now, why have you written 14 books? Do tell us. So if they're all the reasons to write one book, why are we up to 14, Lucy?
Well, yes, that is a good question, I suppose. Well, I've written three novels, so we can kind of dispense with those. Those are just what I enjoy. And then I used to be a work-life balance expert, so I've written a couple of books about that, and sort of general, and a couple of other books about sort of well-being. But then all the rest of the books I've written are about how to write books. So I think I've written seven books about how to write books. One of them's about how to write fiction. So again, you can take that out. But it's sort of the evolution of I have over the last 10 years, I have mentored up to, I would say around actually 2000 entrepreneurs through the process of writing their book. So as I have sat with them, and as you know, I kind of go on regular Zoom calls with people who are in the writing process to kind of hold them in the process, because it's very easy, as you say, to kind of think, oh gosh, this is hard work. Do I really want to get up early in the morning and write? And a lot of people drop out, and so I kind of want to be there for them. And what I have had back from that has been, and I love every call I go on and every author I work with, because their story, their journey is so important. I mean, there are lots of underlying problems or issues or challenges that people face in the writing process. But then, of course, there are always the unique ones that people have, a particular subject or a particular issue that comes up. And it's just, I really feel that this last book I've written, which is called Book Magic, is kind of, I hope, actually my final iteration of all that experience of working with entrepreneurs and experts and business owners on the writing process. And it's not just that we've developed a very clear process for positioning, for planning, and for writing the book. And I think that's important, because writing feels like a big amorphous kind of task sometime, and the mistake people make is to dive in and think, oh, I know what I'm talking about, so I'll just write and be creative and it'll all be fine. It generally won't. It's, you need to plan, you need to structure first in detail, And then you need to realize that writing is a task by task, step by step process. And that if you do it that way, it never becomes overwhelming. Well, maybe it does sometimes, but in general, I now, I'm very clear about the stages people go through. And it's also about the emotional stages you go through when you're writing a book, because it is, you're unpacking a lot of stuff about yourself, about your knowledge, your experience. You're talking about case studies, clients you've worked with, and there's a lot of emotion that goes along with that. And I mean, my my overview learning is that people start well. They, it's exciting, it's fun. They unpack what they know best, and then they go through a kind of middle stage where often imposter syndrome sets in, and they think, oh God, my book's so boring, everybody knows this, who's going to read this? And it's it is all nonsense. You have to step back from that. But then when you get to about the 2/3 way through, you suddenly start to realize, gosh, I've written more than half a book here. This is wow, there's some really good stuff here. I'm going to finish this. And that's kind of what I've learned over 10 years, that people go through these phases, but they need to know they're coming, because otherwise the downside emotions kind of hit you like a slap in the face, and that's when people give up. And I need to be able to tell people it's normal. Everybody feels like this. Just push through, get finished. It will be so well worth your while.
Yeah, well, I have to say, I would never have written a book if it wasn't for your book builder process, because that just helped me immensely just to get a structure on how to do it, and to, as you say, have that support around as well. And actually, one of the copy editors that I used for that process, she's still my copywriter now, because we just got to know each other, and she knows my voice, and and she uses these podcast episodes to repurpose that as blogs and articles for me. So and I actually, to be honest, at the end of the process, I missed it, which I never would have thought when I started. But I did actually miss it at the end, just that time to myself every morning, and just kind of letting the thoughts out. But the thoughts were coming out in a structure, so I knew each day and each week what it was that I was writing about. So that was actually really, really helpful. Now, I would like to ask you again about the book magic. So what's your best book magic story, whether your own book magic that you've discovered, or one of the 2,000 entrepreneurs that you've worked with, if someone's told you a book magic story? Do you have a favorite to share with us?
Well, my personal favourite bit of book magic is that when I started the Business Book Awards back in 2018, very long story short, a very gender balanced judging panel came up with 11 brilliant winners in the first awards. They were all white men. And so I thought, well, I can either brush this under the carpet and move on, or I can go out there and make this a bit of a mission for me to get more women. I realized we'd only had half as many entries from women authors as from men. So I wrote a book called A Book of One's Own. And it was just one of those moments when the title popped into I woke up in the morning and the title, A Book of One's Own, popped into my head. And I thought, yeah, I've got to write that. That is what I do. This is how I communicate, through writing books. So I wrote a book that I hope encouraged more women to write their business books, and told them how. And within 2 years, we had got equal numbers of women submitting books to the Business Book Awards. I also ran women-only book writing programs and things like that. But, and I went out and sort of shouted about it on podcasts and articles and things. So that's my favorite for me. But oh gosh, I have so many. I mean, we had one person who came back to us after 6 months of their book being out there in an absolute panic. And he said, I don't know what's happened. My business has doubled. My book just went out there and suddenly everybody's come back and they want to work with me and I don't have the capacity. What shall I do? So we sent him back. We sent Daniel in the KPI program where he'd come from and got some advice there. But that is, I mean, I've had authors who have got the most amazing international speaking gigs, all expenses paid, who have found clients that just they've always wanted to work with, and the kind of client that you only need 2 or 3 of those to fill your your workflow,
Mm.
all sorts of things like that. Somebody who was totally dyslexic, never thought they could write a book, actually came from a very difficult background themselves and had started an organization called Life Chance, One More Life Chance, to help others. And he realized that with our booksmith service, which is a kind of ghostwriting, he could write his book as well. And that's been an amazing revelation to him and really built his business.
Mm.
So I've got so many. I'll stop there. Also, winners of the Business Book Awards. Somebody who literally on the day before the publication was due called me up and said, "I can't do." It was a woman, in fact, who called me up and said, "I'm too scared for this book to go out. I think I'm going to get criticised for it. Can we just
Yeah.
stop?" And I managed to talk her down from this this position. And within a couple of months, she had won an award at the Business Book Awards. Her book was doing fantastic things for
Amazing.
her business. So it's
Amazing. So they're
there's
going to
all
write a
sorts.
book all about book magic stories.
Exactly.
Now, when we met well, it was published in 2022. It was actually 2021 that, started the whole process. AI wasn't really a thing. So, a couple of years on, and gee, hasn't the world changed with generative AI? So I'd like to ask you about, Book Magic AI and what is that, and how has AI changed what you've been doing?
Well, yeah, no, it's so interesting. So Book Magic AI is a unique business book writing app. It's specifically about writing the book that will build your business. And essentially, I've partnered with an amazing tech developer called Jonathan Farrar and Joe, my business partner in Rethink Press, and Daniel Priestley.
Mm,
And what he has done, what Jonathan has done, is somehow include everything that we know about book writing. So it is, in fact, the book builder
mm,
program and more that is now in an app that you can follow through from, as I say, the values to, you'll remember the 3 Ps of position,
mm,
the planning process with the coloured cards, or however you used it, but that is now in the app. So very, very easy to use. And then the writing process and the AI part of it. It makes it all incredibly smooth and interconnected, but it also offers, I mean, I should say, absolutely, we do not use or suggest you use AI to write the book at
mm.
this point and probably forever.
Yeah.
AI is good at lots of things, but you can't publish an AI generated book. Most publishers will not go there, and even Amazon is very careful about that, and you have to
Mm,
specifically say that that is what it is.
mm,
But what it is brilliant at is helping to come up with titles, to think of
yeah.
structure, for ideas about different topics. We are in the app. You can create your ideal client avatar, and by asking lots of questions, and then the AI synthesizes all that and then becomes your ideal client. So
Mm,
you can say to your ideal client, what else do you want to know about this, and have I explained this properly, and all sorts of things like that. So the AI can do that. It also, there's a set of AI coaches in there as well, one of which is an AI version of me, which is
Oh, I
very
love
strange.
it.
Right, maybe it hasn't quite got my voice right, so it's very odd. But there are others. You can choose your AI coach at the beginning, and that takes you through um, all the kind of things that I would say to you on the Book Builder
Mm,
program. And there's a whole, I mean, I've done a whole load of little videos that answer the questions
mm,
that you and other people have asked me for years and years on those calls that we've had.
mm,
So it's sort of, I mean, what I find amazing is that the AI kind of can provide I mean, as opposed to like an online course or program, which we could have had before, the AI, funnily enough, kind of incorporates all the humanity and the detail of the personal interaction that I've had over these years with so many authors and kind of reproduces it. So For a start, subscribing to Book Magic is a lot cheaper than going on a, in-person program or hiring a book coach or ghostwriter.
Yeah.
I mean, as I say, the AI doesn't do the ghost writing
Mm.
for you. But it's, it's a very accessible way and to go through the process. And it doesn't, like a group program, it doesn't sort of end at a certain point,
Mm.
even if you haven't finished your book. It's there with you forever. I mean, we do also have a Facebook group for
Mm.
subscribers as well, where and I do go on doing the calls because I love
Is
to
it
hear
really
how
you,
people are.
or is it your AI avatar?
Yeah, no, it's me. I think you can tell that because it kind of, I am an and I'm not. So that's what book magic is,
Mm.
and I didn't know at the beginning how how good it could be. I
Mm.
mean, I hoped it would be. It was really hard work, kind of working with Jonathan doing the tech, and helping him to understand the detail of what needs to go into a good book coaching program, but then to see him bring in the AI to make it even better, was really, really exciting. So people, our subscribers love it, and it's been. I mean, we beta tested it for 6 months with
Mm.
people saying, "Oh, it's glitched here. This has gone wrong. Can you do this? Could you
Mm.
add in this?" And that was brilliant because again, we got real life people reporting back and asking for different ways of doing things, and it was all done, and we're still building it out. We're about to launch our ultimate program. There are 3 levels you can subscribe at, and the ultimate program not only does the planning and writing of the book, but also helps you promote it afterwards. So amazing thing, once you've written your book or even a bit of your book, you can get the AI to create lovely little LinkedIn articles or blog
Mm.
posts or social media posts, and it just pops them out, and there you go. And then it's now about to have a kind of whole social media promotion plan at
Mm.
the end, so
Amazing.
you've got all that work that is, as you know, it's quite hard work to promote your book
Yeah.
after you've written it as well. It doesn't stop with the publishing,
Yes.
so that's all in the app as well.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds fantastic. And I think it's a great use case of AI because there are still a lot of businesses that are a little bit unsure about using AI and how to integrate it into their business. So I love that you've already found that applicability and you've rolled with it. Um, so thanks for the conversation today. As people are listening to this and they may be thinking, oh yeah, I get it, writing a book, it's going to potentially help me to get clients, it'll help me with my team and give the clarity. Yeah, I don't know. What would be your advice to get started?
My advice actually would be to go and try out Book Magic. It's literally just bookmagic.ai, and we've got a free level that you can test out. You can do the values exercise, you can do the 3 P's of position. So I think you can get an idea of whether this is going to work for you without having to pay any money, and you can then subscribe if you want to and get. I mean, I really think it is the easiest and most effective way of getting the right book written, because I think the other thing that people worry about is, if I put all this time and potentially money into this project of writing a book, will it actually do that work for me? Will it bring me new prospects and clients and all the other things? And the answer is, if you write the right book, it absolutely will. I mean, it's, the systems we've built over the years and the books we've published, we know that we have that formula right. And Book Magic holds all that. And if you follow the process in Book Magic, you will write a book that absolutely will build your business and transform where you are, with the business to the next level. So that really would be my suggestion. Give it a go. You can try it out free and see what you think. And then the quicker you write it, the sooner it gets out there and starts working, and gets your business moving even better than it is now.
The sooner you get your book magic. So
Exactly, exactly.
Well, look, thank you so much for your time today. And I should say that actually Lucy's based in the UK, although the business runs across the world and obviously in Australia because I wrote my book through it. But it does mean that you've gotten up quite early this morning to speak to me. So thank you for doing that. It's most appreciated. And I would just like to ask you, if you're listening and you've received value from this episode, we'd love it if you could leave a rating or a review over Apple Podcasts or Spotify so someone else can also find the episodes to help with their business. And episodes are released every second Monday. So just click the subscribe button. You'll be notified of when it's available. Thank you so much for joining me, Lucy. It's been an absolute pleasure. It was great to see you again today.